Welcome to CTV News Your Canada. It's Wednesday, May 14th. We'll bring you profiles of fascinating Canadians and stories about your community. Thanks for watching.
That's my father, and that's me.
Wow. Yes, and we have the same...
Do you realize I was carrying a gun?
Oh, look at that.
It's an unexpected reunion with memories from a bygone era.
Long time. Yeah. Because I don't think I even have any at home in any of my albums.
An album of sepia-toned photos of a young Ed Swizicki and his parents back in the 1940s.
He kept bees in the old country, in Poland. And it was having bees that enabled him to scratch together enough money to come to Canada.
The pictures were taken outside of the now 89-year-old's childhood home in Point Douglas.
Like anywhere else, you know, there's good things and bad things, but it was good to live there.
And this is the first time he's seen these photos in ages, thanks to the 124-year-old home's current owner.
My dad purchased a property in Point Douglas in 1987, and he did some work in the basement, and up in the rafters, they found an old photo album.
Tanya Bush says her family tried to find the people in the photos over the years with no success. However, her father's passing earlier this year was the catalyst she needed to solve this decades-old mystery.
It was something that we had shared together, this fascination about the history of our home, and I wanted to bring everything full circle.
Bush turned to the Winnipeg Reddit community for help, and within a couple days she had her answer, and on Monday returned the album to its rightful owner.
She certainly had an adventure, and I guess she likes people and genealogy.
I think it's just something really special to make connections with people, and it almost feels like they're a bit of my family now, because we did grow up in the exact same house, just 50 years apart.
Daniel Halmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Just in time for spring, the High Park Zoo has some adorable new additions.
Oh my goodness, it is so cute. His little button nose and fluffy fur, better than expected.
Molly McMoo was born March 22nd and her new baby brother born May 1st.
And we also have our unnamed calf who was just born recently. We are going to be doing a naming contest very soon. The zookeepers give us several names, and then we put it out to the public and they can choose their favorite name.
The Highland calves are some of the newest members of the zoo community and already a fan favorite, bringing the total number of animals that call High Park home to 38.
The cows, the llamas, the emus, the capybaras, they all have names. And people love to know that because it makes it more personal.
From peacocks to yaks and sheep, the zoo lets you take a walk on the wild side in downtown Toronto.
The little one. Oh, we come all the time. I grew up coming with my grandparents. My dad grew up coming to the zoo, so to be able to come with both my kids now and for them to experience it is so special.
Making for a great place to spend time with friends and family. The High Park Zoo is open 7 days a week and is completely free to the public. For more information, you can visit highparkzoo.ca. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
6 days a week, whether it's on the track or in the gym, you will find Dante Cormier training.
It was a gym teacher actually in middle school. She introduced the sport to me and I just stuck with it.
For the last 6 years, he hasn't let anything slow him down.
I have cerebral palsy. It affects both my legs and my left arm.
His dedication never wavers. He's only gotten faster and stronger.
Our National Federation of Athletics Canada has been tracking Dante for a while now because they've seen the trajectory he's on, and they're comparing him to previous athletes that have gone on to be international medalists.
Now, at only 18 years old, Dante has been invited to compete at his first international race in Switzerland.
I start off at the Notwil Grand Prix and then Swiss Nationals, and then there's a memorial meet.
Dante's coach, Steve LeBlanc, says it's the kind of competition that you have to be invited to.
One of the things that will happen on this trip is he'll have the opportunity to get classified internationally, which will make him eligible for other international competitions. So that's a pretty big deal because that opens up the big ones, the Paralympics, the World Championship.
If I do well here in Switzerland, then I'll end up potentially going to New Delhi, so that's the ultimate goal.
But with big dreams comes high costs. Between registration, travel, and modifications, the trip is expected to be around $14,000.
The financial part is probably one of the biggest barriers.
Dante says having this opportunity is also about breaking barriers in para-athletics and showing what's possible for anyone with a little determination and support.
I feel like as someone with a disability, there's always kind of maybe a bit of doubt. I'm hoping that if I can go over there and compete, then it will hopefully inspire some of the younger athletes to maybe continue doing the sport and just pursue their dreams.
Representing both New Brunswick and para-athletes, Dante heads to Switzerland on Saturday. Alana Pickrell, CTV News, Moncton.
They're gearing up for their next episode of Chef 2K. Red Seal chef Mike Foss is the host, while Fareed Hamden is behind the camera. They're interviewing Brandon Ball, who owns and operates the Brant Lake Wagyu farm near Diamond Valley. Beef from here goes out to more than 200 restaurants across Canada.
I like cooking with this product from the land I'm standing on right now. Honestly, Brant Lake Wagyu is like a sought-after thing for chefs in Canada. I've worked with the product many times. To actually be here and see where it comes from is pretty awesome.
Foss and Hamden are traveling around southern Alberta visiting greenhouse operations and cattle producers to show viewers the work that goes into putting food on their table.
We just seen, how uninformed people are about this, and that really took me by surprise. And me and Mike sat down one day, and I'm like, man, this really feels good to help these guys out.
Ball is proud of his herd that his family started in the 1980s. Wagyu is a Japanese breed of cattle whose meat has a higher fat content.
People need to see the work that we put into this, the hours, the dedication, the stuff that we have to fight through every year, whether there's always something different that we're fighting with.
Hamden says their YouTube channel is being watched by thousands of viewers.
It's now a passion for us to spread this information to people so they really understand what it takes to be having that steak and that beef and the vegetables on your table.
Foss says much of our food is shipped here from around the world, and that contributes to greenhouse gases.
You need two things to live: water and food. So let's start backing our farmers so that we start eating properly and we don't have to destroy our world bringing in produce from around the world.
Kevin Fleming, CTV News, near Diamond Valley.
That's a beauty.
Seeing sparrow grass poking up from the ground never gets old for third-generation asparagus farmer David Barry. The asparagus spears have him smiling from ear to ear even more this year. A tough winter with lots of snow is actually good for the crop because it means more moisture.
You could almost say it's our happy time, because if you grow a crop and you can't sell it, what's the use?
The happiest time is short-lived, just a couple of months, but fourth-generation asparagus farmer Tim Barry says it couldn't come at a better time.
The demand for fresh Ontario asparagus has never been stronger. Customers are coming in and saying, do you sell a lot of Canada stuff here? And we say, well, we sell all Canada.
Fresh Ontario asparagus, exciting for restaurants and caterers too.
Chef Dia just picked some of this up for his catering. Some's going to the boathouse.
One of the people responsible for getting the valuable product to local businesses and eventually people's plates safely is fifth-generation farmer William Barry.
We're delivering a product that's fresh right out of the field. It's just no spray. And then just probably the best part as well is how happy people are.
People like loyal customer Chris McLeod.
I came here the very first time with my mother-in-law. I think I was about 8 years old. She wasn't my mother-in-law yet.
She hasn't stopped coming back, especially now with that push to buy Canadian.
Well, I'm trying to buy local, and this is a really easy place to buy. We just don't run out of asparagus until its season's over.
And when that season is finally over...
Oh, I dream about asparagus all winter long. Yeah.
Spencer Turcott, CTV News, Cambridge.
Mikey Morrison is into day 2 of his Great Canadian Walkabout.
Oh man, I can't get enough of the fresh air. It really helps my mental state, helps me get out of my depressions and obviously my anxieties. I can't stop moving, and that's part of my bipolar disorder.
The Cambridge native left Wallenstein on Monday morning on his cross-Canada journey to bring awareness to mental health and depression, something he's been dealing with for most of his life.
I've struggled with bipolar almost all my life, and I've found other ways to overcome it besides, medications. I talked to my doctor. We took the right steps to get me off, and I've been med-free for about 12 years, and I've found a lot of cool ways to deal with my depression.
One of those ways is exercise and outdoor activity. He'll get a lot of that over the coming months as he plans to pull a pony cart that he'll sleep in at nights across Canada. He's starting by walking on the Guelph to Godrich Rail Trail. So far, he's about 60 kilometers into a potential 5,500-kilometer journey.
I don't have a lot of money. I'm on a disability income, but I took what I could save up through the winter and buy off a marketplace, and we ended up building this. When I was a young fella, my dad always told me, get off your pity pony and walk it off. So what I did was I bought a pony cart and turned it into a shelter, and I'm going to walk it off.
Morrison isn't raising money for any specific charity or cause. He just wants to Walkabout for his own mental health and maybe others as well.
Lots of people are depressed, and especially with the divide that's going on in our country, I figured, hey, one thing we can all agree on, Canada's beautiful, and I want to see it for all its beauty, dangers, and grace.
Morrison plans to arrive in Godrich on Wednesday and work his way along the Lake Huron shoreline from there on his Great Canadian Walkabout. In Walton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Blue skies and temperatures in the 20s. Tourists say it's an ideal time to visit Montreal.
That's why we went here May, because we know it's springtime. The weather is perfect.
Tourism Montreal picked the perfect day to officially kick off its summer tourist season. The expectation is tourist numbers will fare well compared to previous years, despite political tension and the possibility Montreal could see fewer Americans.
It's going to be a range between -3% and +3%. I think we will know a little bit more after the Grand Prix.
Tourism Montreal launched an ad campaign targeting American visitors. It's called Stretch Your Dollar Further in Montreal.
Not about the cheap destination, it's just to tell the Americans that your value is good, and 37% of them are not aware that their currency is actually providing so much benefits.
The city hopes to also capitalize on Canadians boycotting the U.S., like Clara Itura, who is visiting from Vancouver.
I want to support Canadian businesses, support Canadian tourism. Canadians have a lot of money to spend, and I tell Canadians, stay in Canada.
Montreal's Downtown Business Development Group says it is cautiously optimistic about this summer. After all, tourists bring in big dollars for local businesses.
We're talking about billions of dollars of foreign dollars entering the coffers of businesses and to the city and our government.
The Grand Prix continues to be a major boost to tourism, and despite some recent question marks about its future in Montreal, La Lumière says the Formula One race is here to stay.
Very confident that we're going to have very good news for you very shortly in terms of extending and staying the Grand Prix for forever.
Just one international event among many that will help the city thrive for another summer season. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
Is it?
Alan Markham and Rachel Anderson are visitors to Kingston, coming all the way from England.
This is my first visit to Canada. Rachel's been before, but it's my first visit. We didn't know a great deal about Kingston. We knew about 1,000 Islands, so we thought we'd stop off.
Days like Tuesday are when Kingston is most appealing to tourists. Sun shining, boats packed into the harbour. It already feels like the middle of summer.
It looks like it could be quite a nice place to spend 2 days.
Markham and Anderson were checking out tickets for the Thousand Islands cruise, which is just getting underway for the season.
I'm very pleased to be able to say it's been a good start to the season.
Despite new data that fewer Americans are visiting Canada, it doesn't appear to be impacting Kingston right now.
It's about the same as it was last year. We're going to be good hosts to the Americans that are visiting this summer. We've seen lots of them already.
According to Statistics Canada, the number of Americans that drove to Canada last month was 10.7% lower than the same month last year. Air travel was also down by about 5.5%, marking the third consecutive month with a year-over-year decline.
While that national trend apparently hasn't had an impact in Kingston yet, officials are still keeping an eye on it, because even though there are tourists from all over the world here,
American tourists make up the bulk of their international tourism revenue every year.
We are arms wide open, so really welcoming our American visitors.
The city even has a page on its Visit Kingston website just for U.S. travelers.
Americans are able to go to that page to specifically understand what to do and see while they're in Kingston. We know that our American travelers tend to actually come and stay longer.
Jack Richardson, CTV News, Kingston.
Drama students at Ross Shep High School are rehearsing their newest musical ahead of opening night.
At the end of the day, who are you going to trust? Them or them?
Now let me hear it loud and clear. Now let me hear it loud and clear.
Newsies tells the story of the New York City newsboys strike in 1899. A group of kids rallied together against publishing companies that were raising the price of newspapers. The school's drama teacher says she chose this musical because her class has a lot of talented young men.
Usually it's the opposite for high schools. Usually you have a ton of female presenting performers, but not enough male presenting performers. So Newsies fit really well with the group of students I have. And when I heard the music for the first time, I was immediately moved by the heart in the music. And then it just made sense, and I could see my students performing it.
You can catch Newsies at the Ross Shepherd Performing Arts Theatre tomorrow through Saturday.
National Nurses Week was marked in Sudbury with a proclamation at Tom Davies Square, with Mayor Paul Lefebvre describing nurses as the backbone of the healthcare profession.
They give so much, and they contribute enormously to our system, helping people that desperately need the help. The fact they show up every morning, right, and not knowing what they're going to be faced with, right? Representatives from the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario were in attendance as the organization celebrates its 100th anniversary. The RNAO is the professional association consisting of roughly 52,000 registered nurses, nurse practitioners, and nursing students across Ontario. More than 600 members make up the local chapter here in Sudbury.
The healthcare system. We work in a variety of environments and work tirelessly, so it's a good opportunity to recognize the good work that the nurses have been doing in our community. In honor of National Nurses Week, the RNAO released a report on Monday focused on the critical needs facing the healthcare system. There are always a lack of nurses, but in particular since the pandemic, we've seen a real decrease in the number of nurses in our community. So that means lack of nurses means a lack of people to cover shifts. So lots of overtime, lots of extra work, and dedication from the nurses to continue to come out. But again, we need more nurses. We need also seasoned nurses who can support the nurses who don't have that much expertise, because that's one of the challenge. Over the years, some institutions have cut educational professors or teachers or staff that can help with education, continuing education in the workplace. These often have been eliminated. We need them back. We need people at the bedside. The RNAO will be recognizing some of its members with a dinner and an awards ceremony. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
According to those who knew him best, Jim Spence was many things, including a proud World War II veteran.
Last year, Jim went to the D-Day celebration in Normandy, and I remember when we went and talked to him about it, he was so excited, and you could just see him come alive with the idea of going over there.
The 99-year-old Spence was on his way to the Netherlands for the 80th anniversary celebrations of the country's liberation, but health complications forced him to be rerouted to Toronto, where he passed away on May 7th. Spence's family described him as a gruff man, but also a community man, always willing to lend a hand.
His bark was worth sitting in his bite, and I know he spent a lot of time with the Legion. He always says, all the medals on his right side, or he pretty well built the Legion here. He did a lot of work around here.
Spence was a member of the Estevan branch of the Royal Canadian Legion for over 70 years, and he left a lasting impact on those he worked with.
I've had the opportunity of knowing Jim for just about 20 years. Him and I worked together here in the Legion a lot of the years in the kitchen and bartending and things, so he will be greatly missed.
According to Spence's son, even in his final years, he was still spry and full of creativity.
I call arts and crafts with Jimmy, because he'd have this this idea in his brain of what's he wants to make something, but just trying to get it out, you have the little,
The youngest of the Spence siblings added that he was glad to be with his father when he passed and will simply miss spending time with him. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
With some nice weather potentially on the horizon for the long weekend, the OPP are preparing for busy waterways at the annual Marine Training Program in Gravenhurst. Sergeant Dave Moffat has been at the helm of the program for more than 20 years.
To make them very aware that they have a big role in their communities, to make sure that they spread the information. Try to let people know that it's pretty easy to get home at night. You just have to be very aware of the hazards that are out there.
The course focuses on navigation, water safety, and operating safely on the water.
We have a river that runs right next to the community. So safe boating practices up there are extremely important. If you fall overboard or anything like that, the river current could take you. So stressing important factors like wearing your life jacket or PFD is something that I'll definitely take away from here.
Critical marine knowledge and safety tools that is shared across the province.
2 of our communities are actually boat-in access, so this is pretty crucial for us to be able to get down and respond to the calls of service as needed.
With 4 water deaths this year already, a simple, familiar message echoed again by officers.
With the technology out there right now, it should be a no-brainer that you don't have. If you don't have a life jacket on, you're really putting yourself at risk.
The OPP say education and awareness are key factors to boaters and recommend taking courses before hitting the open water.
The safer you are, the safer your family is, the easier job we have. So be prepared. Know the equipment that's required on your vessel.
With the May-long weekend approaching, the OPP are reminding boaters to use caution and courtesy when out on the water. Police will be out patrolling the Muskoka and Georgian Bay regions, enforcing water safety and making sure people are wearing their life jackets. Luke Simard, CTV News, Gravenhurst.
Well, he's not faster than a speeding bullet or more powerful than a locomotive. Herbert Eaton is proving to be a superhero of sorts.
I just want to come out and enjoy my time picking garbage up.
And while he can pick up a bounty of butts in a single day,
300, sometimes I'll get more than that.
And demonstrates the ability to do it every day,
3 to 4 hours.
Herbert is too humble to reveal the true potential of his powers, but others are happy to try.
He does good things around here. Friendly, tries to be happy.
Always looking for someone to help.
Like when he discovered this handful of discarded credit cards and ID.
I'm going to try and turn it in somewhere or see if I can find a person.
And although he's never sported a costume, Herbert has been seen carrying groceries for people with mobility issues, sharing jokes with strangers who seem down, and giving food to the hungry.
He's just not judgmental. He treats everyone like their needs are important.
Now, you should know there's no death-defying origin story here. Herbert says he just started volunteering to do this one day because he was bored during the pandemic and hasn't stopped since.
It's fun picking up stuff, trying to keep the place clean.
And although people have offered him donations and gratitude, Herbert has never asked for anything in return.
And I'm just happy one day to say thank you for the great work you've done for us.
We appreciate it.
And keep it up.
But Herbert is most happy when neighbors like Danielle are inspired to join him in not just cleaning up, but building up the community.
So we feel like we're connected to something, so it's less isolating.
We can learn to make our community better and healthier.
It lifted my mood. Think about something else besides yourself and your own problems.
And perhaps that's Herbert's greatest power of all, showing you don't need to commit spectacles of service to be a hero. You can be super by simply helping others. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, New Westminster.